understood. But there was a bacteriophage with 160 some odd genes that had been totally all of them were understood. And the lecturer was talking about this, and I was sitting next to a distinguished theoretical physicist who, without thinking about it, turns to me and says, it's really hard to believe something like that could rise spontaneously. And I said to him, precisely. And he got all red in the face.
That's great. Barry, I asked you questions about spirituality from a very sort of highfalutin level. What about on a more mundane level in the value that Yiddishkeit plays in your scholarly career, and anything from Musar, ethics, or even Menucha, from having Shabbat and having the ability to turn off for a day?
Okay, so that, I will tell you another story about Shabbat. So I really was very energetic in my youth. And producing all this work. And I came to the I was spending some time in Israel then too, a little less than now. And I came to the Weizmann Institute, and there was a non-religious, but nevertheless very Jewish professor there, old-fashioned physicist. I had heard his name because he'd done some of the early calculations that were necessary to understand the Lamb shift in helium in the late 40s. And I came to see him. He said, I have the most amazing story to tell you. Freeman Dyson came to get the Wolf Prize. And he visited us, and it was amazing. He was a goy, and he praised Shabbos. He said to me, thank goodness for Shabbos, because without Shabbos, we couldn't keep up with Barry Simon. And my immediate response was, he has it completely wrong. It's because I recharge my batteries on Shabbos that I'm so productive the other 6 days.
Right.
It's not. But in that sense, it gives me a certain kind of perspective that's very useful.
And so, Barry, just last question, just so I understand. You don't concern yourselves with the unknowability of Torah, about Olam HaEmes, about Techias HaMesim. These are all unknowables, and as a scientist, it's not concerning to you.
They're unknown to science also. So it doesn't. Torah and science are dealing with different aspects of, I won't say it's not nature, different aspects of the world, of life. I'm not sure, but I, successfully or not, separated them so that I don't really, I'm also not a deep philosophical thinker. That's a problem with my science or virtue. I'm not sure which, but it impacts this question.
It probably keeps you from running around in circles any more than you do.
Yeah, otherwise, no. It's quite clear that it's in a different way, but in the Torah codes, I met some people who just go crazy over these things.
Well, I'm glad you don't. And Barry, on that note, in our next session, we'll take it all the way back to the beginning, to New York, and even before in Europe. We'll pick up then.